All right, y'all. We had some technical difficulties, like when you use certain words. When you use certain words, um, Facebook automatic freezes up on you. So that's what we're facing. So I'm not going to put the caption up there at all. I'm not going to put the caption up there. This is live, uncut, unedited. Come on in, people. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in, people. Come on in. They froze us up, people. They froze us up. You know how that go. When you use like words suicide, bullying, and stuff like that, they freeze alive. They freeze alive. You know, when you use certain words, they just freeze alive. They freeze alive when you use certain words. So we're back, people. We're back. We're back. Everybody share the video. Share the video. We back. Y'all know what we're talking about. So I'll let you guys know. I'm gonna put the call in up number up there too as well. What's going on, Angel? I see you. Come on in, people. Come on in. This is live, uncut, unedited. We're gonna get ready to get started. I'm gonna take Dr. Sanders. I'm gonna take her first, and I got one. I'm gonna have yeah. Come on in, people. It's live, uncut, unedited. Come on in, Dr. Sanders. All right. Come on in. Live, uncut, unedited. Live, uncut, unedited. It's live, uncut. Hold on. I'm gonna let you. Yeah, I got you on live now, but I'm gonna let the lady go before you so she can space it up. You just stay on hold, okay? All right. I got you. All right. All right, y'all. Come on in. Live, uncut, unedited. Let's see. All right. Come on in, people. Come on in, people. This is live, uncut, unedited. You know, when you talk about certain things on the on Facebook, they mess up your life. If you talk about hate, bullying, and lesbians, homosexuals, stuff like that, they just automatic messes up your life. So I'm just letting y'all know. Okay. All right. It's not okay. Well, we're gonna get started with the caller. Get started. Okay, caller. Let's hear you. Come on, you're on live now. Live, uncut, unedited. Come on, talk to. Come on, talk to us.
Good evening. My name is Celeste Curry. I am a fifth grade mom at W.E.B. Du Bois. February the 10th, on school hours, my son was robbed in the school building. I have a track record, paperwork of going to the school about this bullying. I asked the police to come up there finally to just put an end to this.
Do me a favor. Do me a favor, sister. I'm gonna need you to start all over from the beginning because I got some people coming in and I want to. Okay, just start all over again. Go ahead. Just start all over again because I got some people just see. But I was not having no caption up there. I want to just keep the people updated because this is very important. They need to hear this. Go ahead, sister.
I said, good evening. My name is Celeste Curry. I am a parent of a student at W.E.B. Du Bois. My fifth grade student was robbed and assaulted February the 10th inside of the school building by four boys that are eighth graders. I was told per Chicago Public Police Department that it's a rivalry with eighth graders and the fifth graders at the school. My son was held against his will in the boys' bathroom. I have so many complaints that I'm at the school maybe it's 4 weeks in a month. I'm at the school almost 3 weeks out of the month. That's how bad the situation is. And I'm really at my arms width, and I need some answers. I need some answers on how could we have 8th graders harming 5th graders, and everyone knows about it. How are we dealing with the bullying as far as children? Why was my son robbed by 4 other children? But let me say this. If we don't stop it and cut it at the root, the infestation is going to get worse and worse.
Let me say something. Hold on. Let me say something. Now, normally bully, that stuff starts in grammar school. So this is actually where it started at, in grammar school. So that's not not normal. I will say it's not normal because it starts in grammar school. Go ahead, sister. Go ahead.
Okay. Be that as it may, the robbery and the extent of the bullying has gotten and exceeded its limit. They threatened my son about shooting him. He's a 5th grader. He knows no one at the school. We don't involve ourselves in the neighborhood or anything of the such. But again, 8th graders robbed my baby, and I'm angry behind it. But at the end of the day, when are we going to be held accountable for the things that these children are doing? The bullying going to the point where children are ending their own lives because they're tired.
Okay. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, you may.
Okay. How did you go about handling this situation? Did you go up to the school? Did you talk to some parents? Did you meet with the principal?
I've been to school. My son transferred me 2 years ago. I've been at the school again, Mr. Johnson. I've been there almost every other day, every other 2 months about different situations. I have text messages. I have voice recordings. I have paperwork of the bullying.
Okay, what I'm saying is, have you talked with the principal? Have you set your son down with the principal and the parties involved?
Again, we've done meetings with parents and the principal. We've done everything under the sun. This is just not acceptable. This is it's not acceptable.
Okay, another question. Was the police called in that robbery? Was the police called when they
I contacted the police. I have active police report, have active paperwork. Yes, they were called. Yes, they're involved. Yes, I proceed to push charges, and I'm going all the way with it. Yes.
You got the police report, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And I mean, did anybody get suspended or anything?
No.
Wow.
I'm supposed to have a meeting with the principal Monday and the parents Monday. No action has been done, but upon me having a meeting, I'm supposed to have the Chicago detective there on my behalf. And after this meeting, then they're going to take measures and do what's needed. The charges will be pressed.
So you telling me 2 8th graders, your son is a 5th grader?
4 8th graders.
4 8th graders.
4 8th graders. In the 2nd floor bathroom, no camera, no nothing, robbed my son, pulled his jogging pants down, and went in his shorts and then let my son go. You're 4 8th graders. What you could possibly be doing to a 5th grader? But if you all robbed, then what else are you all doing? And if you all are doing this extent in school, you know what they're set for doing. This is just not no one-time random thing. This act has been going on. You have 8th graders, Mr. Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
My son is a 5th grader. My son does not know anyone in the school outside of the children that he is in the classroom with. We're not familiar with the neighborhood. I live in my neighborhood and community for 12 years. I am not fluent with anyone under any reason, under any circumstance.
Mm, okay. Now, what is it you trying to get done? Tell me what's your end game of this
I'm
situation?
pressing charges and I'm going forward and I'm doing everything to the fullest extent of what needs to be done on behalf of my child.
Okay. Now, how's your child behavior? Is do he want to go to school or how's he
Well,
acting?
my son has said in multiple meetings with the principal upon multiple times of us having a conversation about these eighth graders and their act of whatever, that he doesn't feel safe. Well, Miss Carter, we're going to make sure that we keep them away from each other. They have nothing to say to my child. My child doesn't know them. I don't know them. My
Mm,
child is in fifth grade. He has no reason to play horseplay, nothing with a person that he doesn't know, especially if they're trying to harm him. No.
hmm. Now, have you on your own seek any counsel? Have they offered you any counseling for
Yes.
your son?
No, they haven't offered me anything. Again, he's been bullied from the extent of I took the initiative to have counseling. But when you all allowed four other children to let this bullying keep exceeding and exceeding and exceeding,
Mm,
he
wow.
was robbed. We could go with the nitpicking of the words, but the threats and the allegations that my child has had, the threats and the allegations I brought to the table at these meetings with this teacher, with this principal, with this student, with this parent, and still nothing. And now he got robbed in school on his 12th birthday. That's unacceptable. On school grounds, inside of the school building, on the second floor, where are the cameras? Where's the security? The
Hmm.
environmental protection people told me they come and clean and disinfect the schools. They've had to stop them several times from harassing my child. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Well, let me ask.
Upon my child saying
Go
he
ahead,
doesn't
sister.
feel safe, others have observed, but no one, what's going on?
And what's this
What's
school?
going on?
What's the name of this school?
W.E.B. Du
Boys.
Bois, 330 East 133rd Street, Chicago 60827.
Okay. Question: how long this been going on?
That's in
Before
yeah.
the robbery? Before the robbery?
Um, it began, this is 2022, I want to say accurately, December. We're going to go as far back as December of 2020.
Okay, December. So this has been on. Has it been the same four or more?
No,
Okay.
no,
Okay. Okay. Now, let me ask you a question too.
yeah.
The question I want to ask you is, when he was getting bullied at the school, he did let you know. How did you find out? Because a lot of times I notice when little people are getting bullied and stuff like that, they really don't speak up because they're afraid. They don't know how to, tell their parents. So how did you find out exactly?
I started seeing the grades fall. From the grades, I started seeing the reaction of the nervousness with him going to school.
Mm-hmm.
He would start having regurgitation problems, or he would have, his bowels would just be loose where he could not go to school because of the anxiety. So when I thought it was just the natural common cold, come to find out, no, it was anxiety. So then I said, well, um, what will it, will it pass or whatever. So he's a trooper. He was like, Mom, I'm going to get past this because I just want to go to the school. It goes up to 8th grade. I want to go here. All right, fine. So we worked it out. I thought we worked it out, but then another situation arose. And from that, I'm back at the school. Hey, look, can we come to some type of resolution? My child doesn't know anyone in the community. Can we come to some type of resolution? what's going on up here? Like, what's the problem? This has been going on. I promise you, I can't make this up. And I really feel bad on behalf of my dad because this is not supposed to be. I'm not raising him on survival. I'm raising him on conscious choices. And you have two things in life, and I put this in. You have a chance to mature, and your first impression is everlasting. So the way I'm raising him, he's kind of green to the world because there's a lot of predators out there, and I never thought it would hit home. This hit home. So now it's personal because this is my child. I feel the hurt that the women feel throughout the season as far as them losing their child. But I'm damn near borderline for the same thing because this bullying can make my child, has made my child tell me, Mom, sometimes I don't even want to wake up. I be really wanting to end it. Why?
Yeah, well, I tell you one thing. It sounds like both of y'all need some counseling, though, because I don't want you to lose your mind over this. You know, it's something serious, because it's
serious.
Yeah, it's real serious, and I'm glad you came on here to tell us a story about what happened and what's going on. So I hopefully that principal of that particular school, I hope he or she is listening, because this is real. She has to deal with this. You have to deal with this properly. But I want to think the advice that I want to give you is make sure you document everything, time, date, have it, all that. And when you meet again with the principal and the parents, take someone with you.
All the time.
Take someone with you.
Yes.
Okay,
yes, on this last time, I had representation. The only way that they'll be able to speak to me, they got to speak to my attorney. We have nothing to talk about anymore.
Well, they got you. I mean, you still have to meet because you want some issues done without. You could just take a person with you first. You want this dealt with first. They committed a crime against your son.
Yes, very much so.
That's, he was robbed. So what I'm just saying, you have to take somebody away because you're going to have to get that issue dealt with. Because if they don't correct that issue, it's going to get worse, and they're giving them little young children
a leverage to continue this functional cycle. I understand, and it's sad. And again, my son got robbed with 4 8th grade. Imagine how that can go left with a girl. If you all know, and they openly said, the Chicago police said, the staff said that the 8th graders and the 5th graders are rivals. How could you all ever allow that to come out of your mouth, talking to a parent about her child or his child that got robbed inside of his child? So you all know that it's right with the babies, and you all aren't doing anything about it. There's no consequences. There's no nothing. It's just, we know. Oh, no. So where's the taxpayer money going? You are so worried about masks, but you're not worried about the safety, but you keep talking about the safety. Where's the safety? That's the first thing that you're supposed to secure. When I'm steady bringing it to you, so y'all swept it under the rug, and now the elephant has no other room. Well, hello, here I am, and I'm not going anywhere. And I really need all the help that I can get. I'm trying to stay as positive and in a very good place. But this right here, this is the opinion. And it's sad. We're talking about children. This is sad.
Definitely. Okay, we'll be just hold on. Make sure you share the video. I'm going to let Dr. Sanders. She works with the Chicago Public School. Maybe she can tell you something, give you a pointer or something of what's going on, and she's going to share some experiences that she's going through, have been through, that she's witnessed and all that. So hopefully this will give you some ammunition on how to deal with this situation. So, okay. So you want to hold on, or you want to just get off? You can always call me back.
No, I would like to hold.
Okay. All right, Dr. Sanders, go ahead.
Hey, God bless. God bless.
Can you
I
hear?
heard the young lady, and I want this to be clear that I work for them, but I'm not sent here to represent CPS. But I will tell you
Right.
this. I went through a similar situation with the young lady, with Kathleen, my daughter. When we first moved in Woodlawn back in, let me see, it was in the late 2001 at A.O. Sexton School. And what happened was my children walked to school. A.O. Sexton is right here at Langley. And Kathleen, being a new girl on the block and in the school, got jumped, was being antagonized. And Kathleen beat the crap out of the girls. So what the girls did, they trailed her to the house, to the apartment we were living at on Champlain. And those little helpers threw bricks at the window and broke them. When I heard the crash, I ran downstairs. And the girls took off running. That was from A.O. Sexton. Vincent and Kathleen and Denzel, little Lester, they was getting ready to throw down because I taught my kids how to defend themselves. I called Principal Brian, who's no longer a principal at that school. And I told her we need a conversation and I want the parents. But I called the police. I had them to meet me at the school. I said, because somebody is going to juvenile hall. So when we got there, the girl said she looked and rolled her eyes at me or whatever. And I said, so if I roll my eyes at you, does that make you think that you're going to come and throw a brick at my window and tear it apart? So the police was there. And the mother came, well, at least she could have called me and we could have sat down and talked about it. No, because when your daughter act like she want to be grown, I'm going to show her how grown this was. And they did put that little girl at 71st in Cottage Grove. I wasn't playing. I told Principal Brian at the time, I said, now, what are you going to do to resolve the problem? And she gave me a lot of runarounds because some principals don't know what to do. They don't know how to handle conflict resolution problems. Don't depend on the principal. Keep them in the loop. But as a parent, it's your job to file charges. And if you have to, you go to Chicago Public Board of Education School Board and you let them know your voice will be heard. I want her to go on Google, Martin. I think you might have remembered when Daniel, I came up against Fisk for Daniel because of a teacher letting the kids know about how many house records that, what's that boy named Chief Keef had. Look on there, Dr. Katrina Sanders, Chief Keef, the whole article that Leah Hope came to my house. So I'm really a nasty person when it comes to children being harassed or children being damaged. Let me tell you all parents something. I've seen, and I want you all to listen to me. Listen, don't hear. I'm talking to you. Majority of the schools are not going to work with protecting your child. Your child is a dollar sign to the education system. If they don't come to school, what happens? They call your house. Your child was missing today. It is very important that your child, because they get funded for that. As a parent, you got to know how this system is. Your child, when they walk out that door, you should have some sort of teaching that is structured for them to know how to protect themselves walking to school. A child should go to school and not be jumped on. But let me tell you what goes on in the classroom. To all you mothers and fathers, what I have seen, not what I heard. I've seen majority of these kids come to school, jumping on tables, slamming down Chromebooks, cussing out the teachers. When the teachers are telling them to sit down, take your seat, turn your phones in. I ain't turning sugar honey iced tea in. Who you think you talking to? Oh, I'm throwing the bomb out there, Martin. I want you parents to listen. I don't want you to argue. I don't want no criticism. I'm telling you what I see. We have seekers, which are called special education class assistants. They work in different capacities. Teachers' aides. They work in different capacities. Your children in high school are playing from scratch, smoking weed in the bathrooms. Security can't carry no guns on premises. It's not enough security officers to mandate a school of 1,400 students. It's not enough to mandate 200 or 300 in the public school. Some of your children have come in there. One of the teachers I worked with, a man that worked for one of the most profound football leagues in the nation. He said, sit down. I ain't got to sit down. Who the hell you talking to? I'm going to get my mama. This is what I see in the classroom. Your children stop at the store before going to the school building. Instead of them going to the classroom in the building, they're stopping at the store before they go to school. They come in late. Do your children tell you that, parents? No, they don't. This is the problem. When I got on television, I didn't ask to get on television. I wrote a letter to Mary Mitchell, and the parents got through talking. Write your letter to Mary Mitchell. You let her know I sent you. You write your story to her. You send it to her. And how my story got out, Leah Hope called me. Tribune called me. South Carolina Commons called me. I wasn't looking for that. But guess what happened, Martin? The parents that were really on my bandwagon, Martin, they didn't want to be seen because they didn't want to make the principal upset with them. The principal only mandates that school. A principal can be removed. A principal can be taken out. They don't own the school. They didn't build the school. They don't have nobody's payroll. People that work for Chicago Public Schools get paid by Chicago Board of Education. That's who we get paid for. But parents, understand this. When your children go to school, you need to teach them how to defend themselves, but how to speak up. Because in the schools, they're not allowed to have their phones. Simeon is one of the hellish schools in the South Side. Ambulances are over there at the school because staff members are having heart attacks with your child when they walk out the door. Yeah, the school that Ben Wilson went to, they catch it every day. I got co-workers over there. We see what goes on inside the classroom and the school. Kids are taking the Chromebook. I don't want to do this crap. Boom! On the desk. Your children. Your children. That's what we see. The girls coming to school fighting. Over what? They start on social media. Facebook, Snapchat, and TikTok. That's where your stuff is at. Parents, you buy those phones for your children, but do you know what your children are doing on those devices? Do you have a clue what is being said on social media? A lot of the kids start their rivals on social media and they bring it to the school. My heart feels for the parent that's dealing with it, what she's dealing with her 5th grade. I defended my child when he was in 5th grade. Call Mary Mitchell, write her, email her a letter, show your proof, have a discussion with her. And if you're willing to be seen and be heard, then you stand up because your son needs you. And don't care what nobody else say. I got your back. I don't even know who you are, but I went through it too, sweetie. I'm telling you, parents, you all don't see what I see. You don't see what I see. These are your babies. Your babies are being turned out in the bathroom. 6th, 7th, and 8th, and 9th grade, 10th grade girls talking about having a Botox booty. What the hell they know about Botox booty? What are you doing at home? Some of you parents that don't know what's going on with your child. What are you teaching them? Because when they come to us, we deal with the backlash of what goes on in your house because they're telling us this is what goes on in your house. You got kids in middle school cussing. F that B up, who the F they go. You don't know how I'm right. They throwing up all these games. Your children are doing it. And you putting pressure on the staff. There's not enough security officers. You want to change something? Parents, get off your behind. Apply for CPS. Come work in your school system or the suburb school, wherever you go.
Or
But I'm telling you
volunteer.
what
Come
I see.
volunteer.
I'm telling you what I see. Ain't enough to go around. The principals, some of them are cool. Some of them are nice. But guess what? They're always in meeting with the board. Now, let me hit this at you. Y'all holler about strikes? Let me throw this at you. When the CTU has a contract, and in the contract, it gives provisions. But when the board comes with something else, or the mayor, Uncle Auntie Lightfoot, come with her own premonition, you going against what the contract says. It's not that they don't want to teach your children, but parents, can you ask this question to me? Why your children, and I work in special ed, can't spell because? Why they can't spell this? Why they can't spell that? Why they can't spell dog? I'm leaving special ed out. I'm talking about the regular kids. Because there are other kids who are afraid, Martin, that don't want to say nothing because they're afraid they may get jumped on by their peers. This mess starts on TikTok, Snapchat, and Facebook. One little girl, I said, what did you get? What did you talk to your guy? Miss Sanders, that, excuse my language, they cussing. They cussing. But no, you will say, you're lying on my child. No, I'm going to kick your behalf. We were laying down having them because you ain't training them. I heard mothers go ham in hand with CPS. That mother, let me tell you, you can do, baby. They don't move. Pull your child out. Put him in K through 12, where they only go to school one day a week. And they learn how to homeschool. I did it for my son. I pulled him out of CPS. I put him in K-12 for a whole year. We transferred him from there to Perspective. And my son got a 4.3 GPA right now. The boy just got through doing wrestling. He's getting ready to go to college. He's got several full rides because what? I'm on the parent committee at his school. Because my last baby and I would kill somebody about my child. Any of my children. It's your job to ask questions. If you're uncomfortable, move your child out. That's how you do it. But I'm telling you what to do because some of these parents don't know what's going on. Her child to be harassed by a bunch of little pissy tail 8th graders, go get the mamas. That's who you go after. When it hit the news, I promise you, they tried to harass Daniel, the classmates. And I told the principal, I said, did I not tell you, you could have came and talked to me. You know doggone well I can't come and talk to you. So I took action. I moved him out of your mess. And guess what? That same principal, what was her name? Oh my God, over at, she took over. She left FIST. Anyway, she got fired because she put a policeman's child outside the door in 0-degree weather. Miller, that was her name, Principal Miller. She's no longer CPS. They terminated her. So y'all don't know that the principal's rights can only go so far. But you as parents, you need to defend and protect the voice of your child. If your child said, Mama, they are harassing you, you take your behind off work and go up there and find out what's going on. And if you cannot get the help you need, then you can transition your child out of the public school to K through 12. They will send them a computer at home. They will teach them, because when they go to college, they're going to be doing online anyway. They're going to make sure you get it. But let me tell you, parents, for all of my co-workers and myself, along with other people I work with, we see this every day. They dodge classroom, slamming doors, running out of the hallways, and think, yeah, your child is doing it. But when a parent's child is getting antagonized, that pisses me off. I'm sorry to go there, but I'm telling you what you need to do. Parents, you worried about your child going to school, but are you really involved in their educational learning? Do you know the teacher? Do you have a conversation with the teacher? See, that's what I'm telling you from my experience and what I'm doing now. None of my children's teachers ever had to call me. None of them. Because I made my presence known. You don't like the principal? You can transfer your child out to another school. Put them in Rosenwald. Put them in Carroll School. Put them somewhere, right? CICS Wrightwood or CICS Avalon. You can do that. Did you not know that? Don't keep your child in that school because it's convenient for you. If your child is being disrespected, his or her voice is not heard, it is your job as a parent to pull it out. File charges. You don't care what goes on. Follow the case through. But you got to also understand, for those parents that don't know, your children come to the school system raising hell with the people that work there. So what we supposed to do? And one thing about it, I ain't gonna let none of y'all kids hit me. I'm gonna lay them out. I promise you, and I will quit the same day. Trust me, I'm valuable anywhere else, honey. But I'm telling you what's going on. Your kids are stopping off at the stores. They getting involved with other junk on social media, and it bring it to the school. When I went to King High School, they cleared there was no disrespect for none of them. Mr. Whatever his name was when he was living, Mr. House, they suspended your butt in the 80s. They suspended you. But parents, some of y'all children are giving people hell. You'll call one of the security guards had to have the ambulance come get them. Because your child fighting in the bathroom and they want to argue with security. That's what they do. They talk back. They talk back to everybody. And when when the principal and the AP walk out the room, Martin, look at this. This is what they doing. They doing all that. Boom, putting up guns. That's what they doing. Your children are walking to school and you don't know who they walking into touch with. So that's why they're able to do what they want to do to other little kids. Intermediate is 3, 4, 5. That's the grade, intermediate. 6th, 7th, and 8th grade is middle school. These kids, these girls come to school talking about sucking penis. They take territory over the boards. And then the kids that are trying to learn, like this young lady, her son trying to learn, he can't learn because some coward 8th graders whose mamas need to be called. She need to get the mamas, but pull her child out. You
Dr.
can
Sanders.
do it. Yes, sir.
Hold on, let me let this, I got another call. Just hold on real quick because you're talking some good stuff. So I want to give you all the time you need to let these parents know what's going on. So you're telling us from both sides. So I appreciate it. Just stay right there. I got another caller and I want to, okay, caller, you up.
Okay, Dr. Sanders, I want to say I had an incident when my oldest daughter at FIS. I went to hell and back for my daughter because my daughter was being bullied. My auntie organized a parade from bullying because kids should go to school and learn. And my child went into depression mode because kids was bothering her. So what I did, I wrote a letter. I went to the board, and Miss Miller should have been moved from FIS because she was doing underhanded stuff. Anyway, she's doing underhanded stuff anyway. I mean,
she's gone. Yeah, she's no longer there.
I'm like you. I deaf a man, but you're not gonna bully my child because your mom didn't do what you supposed. Their mom didn't do what they supposed to do for their kid. I literally had to quit my job to go to the school to make sure that my kid didn't get bullied. And I went to Miss Miller, and Miss Miller kept blowing me off. She kept brushing me off. So what I did, I went downtown to the board. I went to the board because I'm not going to keep talking. I'm going to go to the head. And you're right. If your child is being bullied, you have to do something. You are their protector.
She said, Miss Miller, You know what Miss Miller did?
Yes.
Let me tell you what Miss
Miss
Miller
Miller,
did.
I went to the board.
Hold on, listen. She talking. Dr. Sanders talking. Go ahead.
Miss Miller,
Okay.
she used parents that were on public aid, struggling and needy as her C&I dogs. I promise you, she hated me because I wasn't one of those women. Some principals, if you get in their little gracious, they will say, you know, I'll do whatever you need if you do this for me. They'll use those parents, Martin. I know Miss Miller very well because there were parents that didn't even want to talk about Daniel's situation. No, I ain't see. I want to make Miss Miller mad. I don't care about making her mad. So I know she's talking about Miss Miller. That's why they removed her. She put a child, a police officer's child, in the cold, sub-zero weather. She locked that child outside the door to punish that child. They removed her.
Okay, go ahead, caller. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes. So, so, it was a lot of parents being quiet. You're right. It was a lot of parents being quiet, but I was not one of them parents because if you don't speak up, and she was doing a lot of underhanded stuff, but my baby was being bullied from 5th grade to 8th grade. But I had to literally quit my job, and I quit my job to go to the school every day.
Okay. All
Yep.
right. Well, thank you. I'm going to end it right here, young lady. So thank you so much, okay?
If she
Okay.
want
Thank
my
you, baby.
information, Mara, give it to her.
Okay. Okay. All right, go ahead, Dr. Sanders. Hold on. The reason why I'm letting her talk so long is because she is in the midst of this. She see both sides. She's a parent. Also, she's employed. Go ahead, Dr. Sanders, talk.
Parents, I know I may sound hard or rough, but I'm telling you what I see. I'm telling you what I see. We can't, it's so hard for us to even pull these kids apart because these kids act like they are prisoners of war. And this is what they bring to the school. Instead of going to class like most of the other young people, getting active in sports and cheerleading or the debate team or student council or things of that nature, there are some that are doing that, are not a part of that class. I'm not talking about that. But for the most part, I do know that Simeon, for a fact, out of 1,500 students, half of all that mess over there, they got ambulance police over there every day. Your public schools are cantankerous with no rules hold. But you quick to want to tell a child don't defend themselves. Well, a child should defend themselves. My mama taught me, if somebody hit you, you better knock the hell out of them. That's what she told me. And I promise you, I live by that rule because you don't have a right to hurt me. But the thing about it, parents, is that to stop the bullying, you got to, first of all, take your personal life, put a Post-it note on it, and learn what school, stop just sitting in any old school without understanding who the leaders are. Because there's a lot of confusion among the administration in leadership, but the security guards can only do so much. They can't go 20 blocks up the street where your child comes. Your child stops off detour, be late for class, be late for school, got a whole garbage bag full of Zoozers and Wham Wham. They bring their phones to school and they have to collect the phones.
Yeah. Dr. Sanders, I want you to hold it real. I got another caller. Just hold on. Go ahead, caller. Caller? Hold on. She probably still. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, talk.
Yes. Yes. Okay. My son go to CICS Basel, and my son was bullied when he was in 4th grade, and he's a pretty big kid. Okay, and he also has autism. Okay, and when he was bullied, his attitude had changed. And you know, autism children are very, very, they can be shy at times.
Yeah,
so he didn't really like to tell that he was being bullied because he's also a big kid. He's almost 6 feet right now, and he's only 11. So he was being bullied, and when he was coming home, his attitude was very he was very mean towards me. And I'm like, what is going on? Why is my son being so mean to me? And I'm not used to this. So the school was calling me for like 2 weeks straight. They kept putting him in the dean's office. He kept having to go to the dean's office and getting in trouble, grades started failing and everything. So I'm like, what is going on? So it was one last time that he went to school and the young man was bullying him. He was in 4th grade at the time. The young man was in 6th grade at the time. And the young man who was bullying him, the 8th grader was paying him to bother him, to do it to him. So my son, the last time he messed with him, my son beat the hell out of that little boy. And after that, I had no more problems with my son. His grades started going back up. He wasn't being mean and things of that nature. And the only reason why he was messing with him, due to him being different, because he's an autistic child. And I think that the school system shouldn't have been putting my child in the dean's office because he was a big kid and he was the one that was being messed with. And if they knew his problem, why you all didn't fix that problem of him being harassed?
Martin, is that
parent? I think it was unfair and everything.
Hold on, ma'am. What you say?
He,
Hold on, ma'am. Hold on. What you say, Dr. Sanders?
asked her, did they label him with the IEP?
She said, did they label him with the IEPT, right? Yeah.
IEP.
They didn't give him an IEP due to his academic. They gave him a 504 plan because he got his academic. Right now, he's in 6th grade, and his GPA is a 3.8.
Okay. Good. So so your son built confidence, but he was afraid to tell you because he was literally not knowing if you were going to be against him or what. That's the matter with a child. I understand what happened
because every time he told them that they was messing with him, they felt
they didn't believe him.
Since he was the bigger child.
Yeah, they judged him on that.
Right, but since he was the bigger child, they felt that, he the one that was doing the manipulating.
Exactly.
And all the time
they misjudged him
because he was smaller than he was.
Yeah, because I remember when I grew up in a Catholic school, but in 8th grade was public school, Paul Cornell, and there was a white girl that actually was bullying me. And I went home. I'm gonna be honest. I have nothing to hide. I was too afraid to tell my mother. I was too afraid to tell my daddy and my grandmother. I went home and I got a compass. I melted that compass enough to sharpen it up. And when she talked to me the next day, I stabbed her butt in the back of her neck. I got expelled for 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know how to tell my parents because I didn't want to whoop them. So when I talked to my teacher, Mr. Diggs, he said, well, new kids come to school, they get bullied, they don't know how to let it out. My mother, of course, when in the church world, they wouldn't listen. So the church world wouldn't listen in my house. So when I stabbed her, because guess who asked her to do it? The girl that was a black student friend of ours told her, oh, she took your ink pen. I'm sitting in the back of the class, you in the front. How the devil take your ink pen? But that's what happened. So I understand. CICS, I used to actually work at the Wrightwood campus. Did you contact the CICS board? Because let me explain to you all how this goes. CICS, along with Perspective and any other network schools, they obtain a license from CPS in order to operate as a school. You don't have to follow. They don't follow CPS's rules, but they ask for the charter.
They was going under the public school guidelines.
Exactly, but under restrictions for charter, because public school does not do charter curriculum. They don't. CICS, along with Perspective and Noble Network School downtown, most of those are charter schools. So they have a different curriculum than CPS. Totally different. They just ask for the charter. So if I started a school, I would have to go to CPS just to get the permission to want to have a school. But they're not a part of the Chicago Board of Education or CTU. They're not a part of that. I know that for a fact.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? So
but he's online. He's online now. He's not in person due to his mental condition,
Okay.
so he's in person.
Okay,
He's
he's in
not
person.
right now.
He's online learning, remote learning, and that's fine. If it
Yes,
gets
he's on
to
remote learning. Yes.
K through 12 also
Yes.
does remote. I don't know if you heard of them, but they downtown, but they actually only go to school one day out of the week for about an hour and a half or 2 hours, and then they don't come back again. They just go online. They send you a computer, a printer. Their teachers get online with them during the daytime. They give them their offline time. So you can always pull your child out of one charter school to another. The thing about it, parents, is what you need to look at is the electives. That's when you get to high school. It's the credits that they get, because some of the schools will not allow you to transfer certain credits in from public school to electives. They'll make them take it over again. So look at that. Make sure
What's the
you
name of
ask
the school again?
She said, what's the name of the school again?
K through 12. They
K
have,
through 12.
yeah, K through 12. Daniel went there for a year and they loved him, but I pulled him out and put him into perspective, and that perspective.
Hold on, Trina. Hold on. That means I had to block somebody. Somebody's being disrespectful on here. So I had to block them.
That's one of Satan's friends. But yeah, but when you dealing with CICS, my granddaughter is in Wrightwood, and both of them are over here at Avalon. So they're both schools. My three grandchildren go to two different CICS schools. You get the handbook.
Okay.
You ask them, what curriculum are you using? Because they're not using the same thing as CPS. And then you ask them about transfer. If you took your child out of this school, what would transfer over and what will not transfer over? That way you will understand.
Okay.
But by you communicating with the staff, you make sure they give you written and understanding the whole concept of charter school, because they operate differently. Although they're under the umbrella of CPS, they don't go by everything CPS. They don't, because they're not Chicago Public School. Totally different. You see what I'm saying?
His 504 plan, would that go with him, or do they go under that too?
What she say, Martin?
The 501 plan. What you said, 504?
His 504. Yeah.
Plan,
What
yes.
happens is that all students that are
Will
in
they,
their IEPs are given to the next school. It goes with him.
okay.
It has to, because the network is the one that actually get those 504s. Once those children are assessed, 504s, the IEPs are developed, it goes with them all the way throughout high school.
Okay.
Counselors and social workers and special eds are the ones who have privy to that. Principals do too, and AP.
But he's not in special ed. They didn't put him in special ed due to his academics.
His academics. And a lot of kids they may have a special need, does not mean they're crazy. Okay, they gifted. You know, there are a lot of kids that are gifted,
Right.
but they score high in their grades. So academics, exactly. But it will travel with them throughout anything, wherever they go.
Okay.
Okay, that's it, caller? You good?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Let me say something, Dr. Sanders. I really appreciate you coming on here, giving information. And it's a scripture always says that my people perish for the lack of knowledge. And this is what Dr. Sanders is giving us knowledge, people. For those parents is experiencing bullying with their children, she's telling you how to handle it. What measures, not go up there with a pistol and shoot up the school, not beat up the little child, but she's showing you how to handle it professionally. So listen, she's speaking out of pure experience. That's why I have her on here, long as I have her on here, because she know what she's talking about. So go ahead, Dr. Sanders. Anything else? Go ahead.
That's the thing that the parents need to know. Don't just send your children anywhere. Learn who their principal is, because sometimes schools can go through changes of principals, and each principal have a different personality. But when it comes to bullying, you as the parent have a right to talk to the counselor, the dean of students, and the principal and the AP. That's your security director of security for that school, because all security have to be trained. They have to. We all go through training. I'm not security, but a few of my friends are security for CPS. They don't carry no guns. Guns are not allowed on the premises. But
Dr. Sanders, hold that thought. I have a question.
Sure.
I think Tiffany, this is Tiffany, she says, oh my God, I mean, it scrolled down. These comments are coming in so fast. I want to get it. What did she say? If the behavior is, hold on, she said something. Let me catch it. Oh, here it is. Can a child flunk for bad behavior? I'm not speaking about grades. I'm speaking about bad behavior.
Their behavior affects their grades.
Hmm.
Because
Okay.
when you look on the report card, if the child is not following directions, disrespectful, they could be smart as all whipper. But that whole behavior, because I taught in the Christian school. So I did report cards. And I had some students that were very smart, but their mouth was very demeaning, which took the grade down. They can be smart, but it does bring out a reflection in their behavior. Their behavior is what it is. That's the whole thing about it. If you train your children at home, coming out your belly, the schools won't have a problem. But it's the problem of their peer pressure. That's another thing. Because kids will only join in on goofy stuff to be in good with the other kids to keep from being harassed. That I've seen that happen. Where the good kids like, I don't want them talking about me. I don't want them beating up on me. Martin, you'd be surprised within 2 years what I have learned with CPS students. They
Well,
come there.
I'm learning now because so now I notice what I did know. So a lot of young children that's being bullied, they're afraid to speak up to their parents,
They don't want,
and they're
because their
ashamed.
parent, exactly, because they don't want their parents to think that they're trouble. Because let me tell you something, Martin, you know this. We know our babies to be like this at home, yes, and all that, right?
Right.
But when they walk out that door, it's a whole different personality that goes on because they're going into the midst of their peers now. High school is
Mm-hmm.
one of the roughest times. Eighth graders, as the young mother was saying earlier, the eighth graders, I told at the school I was at, I said, do you know if you go to high school, you'll not be able to do what you're doing? Jumping on chairs, slamming down Chromebooks. Yeah, it's a madhouse. But if you as a parent don't train your children how to behave in the public school system, it's going to be a problem. And a lot of these administrators are not really supposed to be in them jobs because they're not fit for the title they got.
They just there for the business. That's all, for the business.
When the children say, my teacher looked like she got Botox booty.
Mm.
Because some of the principals dress inappropriately. They come there with their bust up and they booties out and they worried about, I'm serious. A lot of them are not even parents. A lot of them principals, and they're not even parents. So if you can't get through to that principal, and this lady said she went to the school board, Mary Mitchell, the Chicago Sun-Times, write her. How I was referred to her, if many of you all remember the little boy named Tyshawn that got killed over in Auburn Gresham, they shot him up in the alley. Well,
Yeah.
Father Flager, Tyshawn, yeah. When I called Father Flager about Daniel, Father Flager told me, call Mary Mitchell, and that's what I did, and that's how it landed up in the news.
I had to block another one, Trina. I'm sorry.
That's
Had to
okay.
block another one. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But as a parent, you need to know who is the principal, meet with the principal and the AP. If you got discernment, and you ain't got to have the Holy Ghost, just watch how they talk. Depict what they're saying. They're going to give you, well, as leaders, we're going to do blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Look at the principal. Look at the workers. Who are the seekers? Special education class assistants. They're very important people. Teachers assistants. Watch who security is. That's your job. So you will know what's going on. And because see, in middle school, they do classroom changes. They go from social studies to math to whatever, history or whatever. But most of the public schools, the middle school transitions from one room to another. But know that when your child comes out of school, have your behind at that door. I have my behind at the door every morning at the school I work with, and I see the parents. And when they drop them off, I tell the parents, let them go. Come on, honey. Come on. Come on. Show me that. Show me that. You know, and they start laughing. Those little babies, they love me. because I treat them like they're supposed to. But it's your job to know what's going on. One of the little babies was accidentally hit.
Dr. Sanders, excuse me, I got another question. Tiffany
Mm-hmm.
Wilson said, Martin, can you ask her, is there a clinical psychologist that comes into the clinically diagnosed children if they are ADHD or maybe bipolar or any of that?
That's done through IEP. When a student first comes in, how it starts is that when that child is presented, let me give you not Daniel, Denzel. Denzel started at McKay. I loved McKay. Principal White was one of the best white teachers, which name he was white too, but his name was white. And the teacher told me, your child doesn't speak. I said, he doesn't? Well, and I didn't pay no attention. I didn't. I said, well, he played with his. Like, okay. So when the kindergarten teacher said it can be fixed, what Denzel had was a phonological deficit, which was a speech impediment. He stuttered. And so it was actually sent to the social worker. The social worker actually did an evaluation with a clinical psychologist comes in. From that point, the speech pathologist brought in. So they wrote up a care plan, okay, an IEP care plan. What happened was when I went to Social Security told me, Martin, we want to break his jaw so he can talk right. No, you're not going to break my child's jaw. It was speech, and now you can't shut his mouth up. But that's how it's determined. So his learning starts in Head Start. They are immediately target how they learn. Once that comes in, because the Chicago Public School does have school counselors, social workers, and clinical psychologists that are on, but they're not there. They only rotate throughout the city. They may come once or twice a week to different schools. When they come back, they do a meeting. That's what happens. That's how that starts. So when if your child has a special ed situation or something, you need to make sure that you speak with the teachers, because the grades will determine a lot in what that child's effort is when they're doing it. You understand what I'm saying? So when that
Dr.
child,
Sanders, hold on 1 second. All right, people, I need another caller, 872-297-6389. Again, 872-297-6389. If you have experienced bullying yourself as an adult when you was a child, I'm saying, you can tell us about it. We got Dr. Sanders. If your son or daughter is experiencing bullying right now, we got Dr. Sanders. She'll tell you how to handle it the correct way. Not pulling the gun out, like I said, cussing somebody out, because like she said, she'd go to hell for hers, So I'm quite sure every mother or father feels the same way about their child. So call in, people, 872. Let's get it while we got online, 872-297-6389. Go ahead, Dr. Sanders.
and another thing is that when you go to registration at the beginning of the school year, it is your job to go up there to make sure what and who is in that building. When you go to the first day of registration for school, whether it's CPS or charter school, it is your job to know the principal, the assistant principal, the whole entire staff. Then ask them what curriculum that they're using. It's your business. Why? Because if your child, when they go home, does not know how to do the work, then at least you would have something as reinforcement. Homework is really reinforcement for that child, what that child learned on that day. That's how that goes. But when you go up there, you let the teachers know. Call me if my child is acting up. If they're not listening to you while they're in class, you build a rapport with them. Don't just send them off into the wild, wild west. It's your job. It's your child. You had him or her. It's your business. If something go down, you let the principal know. Now, if you do this to the principal directly, mano a mano, I don't want to have a war with you. So let's sit down and have a discussion about this and listen to what the principal have to say. Because some principals are only going to give you what they were taught to give to parents in the position that they're in. Now, some will make provisions. That's a very small handful. but others won't care. I remember when I worked at CICS Wrightwood, one of the principals there, she was a female principal. Guess what she wouldn't do, Martin? She wouldn't let the kids have chocolate milk. But then you
Wow.
open up a candy store in the school. And me and her
Wow.
stayed at it. I said, well, wait a minute. The percentage of sugar in chocolate milk is smaller compared to you selling Honey Nut bonbons, Twinkies, Suzy Q's, and all of that. That's like 1,000 milligrams of salt of sugar. So CICS moved her, and they put a guy in there, it was a bald-headed guy who wrote a book about his incarceration and got out and went to school. And he allowed the kids to have chocolate milk and juice and all that. But Martin, I'm gonna throw this at you. A lot of these parents that just send their kids off and not even in a relationship with these kids are the ones who are bullying these kids because they're not getting attention at home. They're gonna bully the innocent kids who don't have no problem to create them to be a problem. And so then the administration would misjudge, like she said, her son was a healthy young boy, fourth grader, and they looked at his weight and his height. Well, we assume because you big that you're bad. That ain't the case. All little boys is like that, not no bad. They not no hellions from scallions. It be the boys that you don't even think about. But that's what happens because those kids who are not being heard at home, they're the bulliers. And they come and they bully those ladies' children.
Well,
That's what
let
it
me
is.
say something. I want to say something that you piggyback on what you said earlier, especially for the high school students. Parents, no parent wants to know that we got another caller, people. I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, hold on. Caller, you want to talk?
Yeah.
Okay, come on, caller, talk. Go ahead.
Hey, I'm loving this call. I'm loving Dr. Sanders. So here's the deal. I've experienced bullying with my two kids. I got two girls. And both of my girls was bullied in private schools, not in public schools. And I had to, first and foremost, have a relationship with my kids to understand what was going on because they don't always want to tell you, but when you talk to them every single day and ask them about their day, not just how was school good, like, you have to tell me what went on in school. You have to know the names of the people in the class and say, what did Sally do? Did this person act up today? And how did you respond? To just like get them to start telling you about what's going on. And that's how I found out that both of my kids was experiencing some kind of a bully situation. They're girls. It was a bully situation, but they weren't 100% innocent. I'm just going to be honest. Girls go back and forth with their girl drama. And sometimes for some kids, that drama can escalate to a level that they really can't handle and they didn't really anticipate. And then it becomes some kind of a bully situation. So for me, communicating with my girls, talking to them about it, and I kind of coached them through it. I didn't necessarily have to go so far as to get the school involved, even though the school was involved because it escalated to that level. But by the time it escalated to that level, I already knew about it. I was coaching them through it. And so eventually we got through it. And now both of my girls are grown. And the deal is that I had the communication. I had their back. I was talking them through it. These are people they still know of today, but they're not friends with them because obviously they're not friends, and that's how girls are. But my thing is with parents, you got to be on the ground with your kids. You got to be talking to them daily, not just giving them their computer or their device, and they on their device, you on your device. No, you got to talk to them. You got to pull the stuff out of them. Because if you don't pull it out of them, you'll never know what's going on.
That's true. That's true. And I applaud you for bringing that out because girls, the main thing is always the girls' drama. It's something on Facebook, it's something on Snapchat. Somebody said so-and-so said, when you looked at me, what you talking about? I mean, these girls got more drama than the soap opera.
They do, and some of them aren't prepared for what that drama is going to lead to, because they don't know that person they're having drama with. They don't know the family they're from. They don't know how far that person will go. You don't know. You don't know what they're experiencing at their home. You don't know the violence they've been around. You don't know the trauma that that person has experienced. So you don't know what that person is going to bring to the table.
That girl in high school, when I first got to King after leaving Hyde Park, this girl name was Linda McDonald. And this girl, she fought me in the bathroom. She actually bullied me because she said my hair was longer than hers and I was ugly and I was lighter than she was. But that girl, when she hit me that one time, Martin, I took that beer bottle and I tried to whack her brains out of her skull, I promise you. And I never told my mother or my grandmother. I didn't, because I did not know in high school how to do that. So I understand what she's saying. You get girls that get picked on for no reason. And you know, a lot of these girls that come to school, they got issues, Martin. When you look at it, you know, these girls come fighting other girls who are jealous of other girls. That's where a lot of the bullying, you know, even if the girls wear weave or ponytail weave, whatever, it's their hair. But a lot of foolishness comes on, and you gotta open up your mouth. That's what when it came to Daniel kind of like is withdrawal, like my mama gonna say something to somebody. But perspective right now, Principal Power will tell you, I got all of their emails and phone numbers, and I asked them what went down. And I will tell Daniel, tell me the truth. Then I will sit down and tell Daniel, the situation came, well, this is how it is presented, but this is the way it looks. But I've never had any of his teachers to call me about suspending Daniel or anything like that, because I had them to understand, look, you just get your grade, do what you got to do, you're out of there. But the bullying.
Okay. I want to ask a question. You
Yeah.
can hold on the phone caller. What I haven't heard yet, what I want to hear is, what about the young men that are bullied, are intimidated to join a gang, or they don't know how to go to their parents and explain to them what happened? They just drop out or they ditch school, or I need to hear something about that. That's what I was waiting to hear, but I haven't heard anything about that yet.
I was going to get to that.
I can't talk about that.
Okay.
I only have 2 girls.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Somebody
Now-
else got to call
Okay.
in. I can't wait to hear it, though.
Okay,
When
thank
my
you, ma'am.
son
Thank you.
Vincent,
Bye-bye.
when Vincent went to A.O. Sexton, which is closed now because Fisk is in that building, Vincent was actually bullied by the 8th graders
Okay,
to get into the game. Let me tell you what
Dr.
season
Sanders,
comes.
hold that thought again. I got a caller. Real call.
Okay.
I want you to let me get this call. I got to get the calls where I can.
That's
Okay.
not a problem.
Okay, caller, go ahead.
Okay. Hey, Dr. Sanders. God bless you.
God bless you, sweetie.
God bless you, Martin.
Thank
This
you.
is Leslie. I wanted to talk about the bullying. My son had experienced that in school. He was in grammar school. And when you guys talk about the open communication with our children, I've always had an open communication with my kids. So my son was able to come home and talk to me about him being bullied. I think I was in the kitchen cooking one day, and he just walked in and said, I'm like, how was your day? You know, what happened in school? You know, he said, Mom, he said, some guys tried to jump on me today, you know, when I was getting on the school bus, or he was getting off the school bus. And I'm like, what? You know, what happened? And he said, because they wanted me to join a gang, and I told them, hell no, you know. I'm just like, what? So immediately I went up to the school, and see, at the time I was working night shift, 8-hour shift at the hospital. And when I went up to the school, they wanted to call a meeting and everything. And I said, yes, even though I had to work that night, got off 7 o'clock that morning, the meeting was at 9 o'clock that morning, the next morning. So I'm like, Lord, I got to go work this shift. Then the meeting is at 9 o'clock. But see, it's all about the parents. We have to don't think about, man, I gotta work, and you know, I'm gonna be tired the next morning, but I gotta sit at this meeting. I went to work. I got my butt off of work and didn't get any sleep, but I went up to that school and I sat there with the principals and I say, hey, this has to stop. So as I sat at the meetings with the principal and everybody that was involved, they said they'll do what they can. Oh, we'll take care of it. Come on now. It got worse. My son was being bullied, and they had cameras at the school, so I called another meeting. I got the NAACP. My pastor was the president of the NAACP. This is going on in Iowa, Burlington, Iowa. So we all get into this meeting again. So I got more people. We look on the video. These guys literally was walking up to my son, pushing on him, doing, you know, recess or whatever. And I'm just like, you guys see this. Can't you guys stop this? Well, come again, the teachers are scared themselves. The principals are afraid of these kids. You know, so I just sat there and watched it. I'm like, what is going on? My son, because he didn't want to join the game, I guess they felt intimidated. Oh, he think he better than us. Again, my son was a basketball player. He was all in the newspaper. Everybody talked about him. Good thing. So again, when you talk about jealousy, Dr. Sanders, that could be the number one thing too. And especially he didn't turn down this gang. You know, I don't want to join no gang. I'm good. You know, so that was another thing for him to be able to be upset with him. When it got worse, no matter who I had at the meeting, NAACP, everybody came out. Even other pastors from other different churches came out to support me at this meeting. I had to get my son transferred. Again, as he was going through that, his grades dropped tremendously. He get at this new school. They picked him up from the school, dropped him off. At home, he was getting straight A's and B's. Now, they can't mess with him at school because I got him transferred, right?
Right.
So what they do is, these guys, they pull up on my son and shot at him. So they couldn't get him at the school. They couldn't bully him at the school because mama got him transferred. So then they see him walking down the street, they shoot at my baby. You know, so it's like if you transfer him out to school, then things can still happen. But while you at the school, you calling these meetings, the principal and the teachers are very afraid of these kids themselves. They got to go home they want to go home to their family too.
That's why they don't speak up.
That's why they don't speak up. You know, so I thank God for this topic on this platform, because when Martin posted it up earlier, I'm like, man, that's a good topic. You know, I was bullied because I went to Walter Reed Elementary and Inglewood High School. In Chicago. So I was bullied at Walter Reed because I was into different stuff. You know, I was able at 13, 14 years old, I was able to memorize a 10-page poetry and recite it. You know, so stuff like that. I was in the choir and all this stuff. So a lot of times the girls be jealous. The young men be jealous of the other young men. It's sad. I was jumped on at the Walter Reed Elementary. And you ask the girls, why you jump on her? I don't know.
You don't know.
They don't know why they jumped on me. Why you jump on me?
Where's your son at now?
Where's your son at now? Because, you know.
She said, where's your son at, Leslie?
My son he's deceased. He's the one that he passed away in October. Yeah, he passed away in October here in Iowa. But yeah, I had to talk about it because my son did go through that. I went through that, you know, and they don't have to have a reason to bully you.
They don't have no reason.
They don't have no reason to bully you.
Well, let me share this with you, Mother. My condolences to you. You know, we're so sorry what you went through with your son. I don't, you know, I can only say I had miscarriages. Didn't get a chance to see two of my babies. But gang season, I want to share this too with you, Mark. You mentioned that the mother was talking about being bullying. May is the most prominent time for gang recruitment. I got that directly from one of the police officers in the CAP meeting, because what they do is they try to replenish those members who were locked up and or killed. And they start in 8th grade. So a lot of the kids that are going to school that are already into the game, they're the ones who will never go to jail, Martin. You already know that, because what, they're too young to go to jail, right? So May is a very prominent, because from that time of June, July, August, the kids go back to school when? Late August, September, right? They got to replace all them people they lost. And so that's where they start for. They recruit in grammar school. They get them as early as 1st and 2nd grade. They proposition them with candy or doing a little something. Or say, you want to make some money to go feed my dog. All kind of tricks and trade in the game for grammar school kids. Boys, I have 5 boys and 1 girl. And so you got to understand that the gang recruiting time is right before school let out, because they need to have that number up of putting back who they lost via death or in jail. And trust me, when they get locked up, they have a tag on everybody, all their buddies that are locked up, to see if they're ever going to get out. So they start in grammar school. And then if they're in grammar school, they work their way all through high school. That's how they do it. I said in the council meeting, that's how I knew about these girls that was messing with my daughter that broke out the windows in my apartment. I said, you got to be kidding me. He said, oh, yeah, it's the gang recruiting time. Because, see, they can't recruit now. It's too cold. They wait until, and they stand outside. There you go. They outside the gate. And they got little friends who got brothers in there. They're selling weed. Because Simeon, along with other schools, got weed all up. They playing dice all in the bathroom. I promise you.
And yes, and you know what, Dr. Sanders, when I got my son transferred, he did good at the other school. He graduated. He went to high school. Guess what? Like you just said, they recruit. And guess what? He had to go to the same high school where these same guys that was bullying him at the other school. So I had to get him transferred up out of there. Because, he was on the basketball team, and he couldn't even go to practice without these guys bothering him. He couldn't even get out of school without them waiting for him after school. And I'm just like, what? I got to get you transferred again. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
We have meetings, but nothing is done.
Did you file a police report against those boys?
Yes, I did. They know them by name, because they in the streets doing other stuff. So as soon as you say their name, they pop up. Oh yeah, we know this one. We just locked him up for this. So these kids, they already in the system doing things out there in the world already.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Right?
And like you said,
and I understand. I know Martin say don't lock them up. We try not to lock them up, figure out solutions, but we got to figure out solutions. If we don't want to lock them up, these kids, they study committing crimes, and they creating a record. Then when your kid is being bullied by them, then when as soon as they put their name in, they pop up. Oh, this kid did this, did that, did this. So we got to figure out something. But yeah, eventually it stopped, because I had to get them transferred and things like that. But I just pray for the parents. You have to be active in the school system. Like, I was at every single meeting. I was at every single PTO. I was at every single thing they had for my kids, as far as the parents to be involved. Even I was working night shift, and I still, was available at those meetings. So always be an active source.
That's right.
In the children's activities when they have at school. My kids was into everything: basketball, cheerleading, the choir, everything. And I don't know. I know it's hard when you're a single parent and you're trying to work and you're trying to be at the kids' programs and stuff. But do it. It'll pay off. Yes, my son is resting right now. He's with the Lord. But I guarantee you, I was that type of parent that stood flat-footed
you know, into my children's life. You know, whatever they was doing in school, I was there. No matter how hard I was working overnight, I was there. So I just tell the parents, encourages the parents to just get out there and do it. I know it's hard, but it'll
It's
all
hard.
pay off in the end.
I raised until I got remarried. I raised 5 boys and 1 girl. And my ex-husband was not cooperating with me, but except on certain issues when I had to make him cooperate. You know, that way he would understand what's going on. And the schools, sometimes you got to pull your children out of the area, period. You know,
Yes.
you got to you
Yes.
can't leave them in the inner city. Go to the other parts of other schools that are affiliated with that, either this, you know, whatever public school system or a charter school, to get your child away. No child should be that. But these bullying with these boys, it's very tough, because I had a lot of boys at the school I was at that would sit and talk to me and say, I don't want to be in that classroom with them. And I'm like, why? Because they talk too much. And then I can't learn. I'm trying to do my math. I can't do this, you know, and then they get quiet. That little group that's called like the ugly duckling group, they kind of stay off to the side from the ones who are loud now. And then they'll kind of like break away so they won't think that they're cliquish. But I could tell if they're clicking because they don't want to be with that group. So if you got sons, notice mothers, if you're a single mother, listen to what I'm telling you. Sit down, have a conversation with your son, and ask them what's going on. They're already dealing with you already being at home with one parent. If the other parent is co-active in the life and they're working with you, y'all come together. Forget about what happened, how the child got here. Come together and involve the child. Take turns. Maybe the first semester, get the report card. Let the father go up to the school, get the report card. Take turns. Take turns.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just put it all on yourself if that other parent is co-parenting with you, whether he paying child support or not. You say, well, you go first semester, I'll go third semester.
Yes,
Okay.
most definitely.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna end it right here. Y'all.
All right.
All right, and thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Dr. Sanders. I'm gonna end
You're
it
welcome.
right here.
You're welcome.
I appreciate. I didn't know it was gonna end like this, but it was beautiful. I want to thank all my guests that called in. Special thanks to you, Dr. Sanders, my
God
sister.
bless you.
And listen, y'all. She's full of wealth and information. So don't worry about those negative comments. Those that like Vera said, if it don't apply, let it fly. Just simple as that. And that's right. You know, because some folks, you know, they so busy worried about people's hairstyle, what they got on. Listen to the message. Forget the messenger. Get what you can use. For real. I'm telling you, I'm not on here trying to be a Facebook model. I'm not a fashion designer on that. But, you know, it's seriously. But this is a wonderful conversation. I want to give a shout out to Sheila, Toy for calling in, and all those, Leslie. I can't remember everybody's name. I didn't ask them. So thank y'all so much. I'm going to end it right here. This is live, uncut, unedited. People, don't forget to go follow me on YouTube, because eventually, you know, when Facebook act up, we got to switch to YouTube, so we don't want to get messed up. So Martin G. Johnson on YouTube, because they might get, they get in their mood, they want to lock me out of the page or kick me out. So we got to have an alternative.
Facebook. You know who it's owned by.
Yeah, I already know. Martin G. Johnson, YouTube. That's how you can find me on that. So thank y'all so much. I'm out of here. Peace.
All right.
Thank you, Dr. Sanders.
You're welcome.
Peace out.
God bless.
All right.